Going into the area with the plasma beam here. The Pink Pirates of Doom. The third strongest pirate in the game, that of course being only behind the Gold Pirates of Ridley's Lair and the Ninja Pirates of Ridley's Lair. Other than that, these are the strongest pirates. Like I said once upon a time in Jet Force Gemini, real men wear pink, except they call it magenta. Manly pink. So there's a magenta pirates. Anyways, the plasma beam, if you don't know, it differs from the wave beam in that, I mean, they stack, so they have, you know, the beam carries the same effect, but the wave beam goes through walls, the plasma beam goes through enemies. Combine the two together, and the beam will pretty much shoot through the entire screen. Like, it won't stop until it hits the end of the screen. Which, you know, the plasma beam is probably, I would consider it to be the ultimate weapon of Samus. You know, it's just plasma energy in these games. Of course, in the Prime games, it's been turned into more of a heat-based element, but, you know, it wasn't always that way. It was just straight energy that would shoot through anything. There really isn't a beam that I could equate it to in, you know, the Prime series. Maybe the Nova beam to a... No, not even the Nova beam. It doesn't have an equivalent in the Prime series. At least the way it works in the 2D games. Shooting through enemies with a piercing effect. Armor-piercing rounds, that's what they are. I guess the Nova beam in Corruption could be equated to what the wave beam is in these games. The wave beam in the Prime series sort of functions a little bit differently. It doesn't go through walls so much as it does just home in on enemies. Shell bowling! And now we loop back around, jump over the first quicksand trap, and go into the area with the third reserve tank of the game. And very important, you have the spring ball for this, because, I mean, if you don't... I've seen it done. In fact, I recently just watched Nintendo Capri Sun versus Bear of Love's Super Metroid race, and Nintendo Capri Sun does manage to get up here without the spring ball by some crazy bomb jumping, but it's so time-consuming that I just would not recommend it. So I would say, if you're going to do the little... This is a path through the game that I have found to be very, very, you know, efficient. Not a lot of backtracking and revisiting areas you've already been to. I just really enjoy it as a path. Now, I should just go down right away, but for whatever reason I don't. And then I remembered, oh crap, there's a door or a gate that I can't wave beam through because it's a super missile gate. So that's it for Maridia. Certainly a pain in the ass level, to be sure, but after enough times through it, it's not that bad. It's just time consuming as hell. Anyways, before I forget, we're going to go back into Kraid's Lair one last time and get the... Is it missile expansion or power bombs? I don't remember. I think it's missiles. Of course, by mathematical odds, it would be missiles. There's power bombs. Yeah, missiles. Now, and just like the reserve tank in Maridia, you can bomb jump to this. As much as I have abused bomb jumping in something like Zero Mission, because I find the applications of bomb jumping so good in Zero Mission. You know, I haven't played it in years, so I would suck at it now, but I have never, in a long time, used bomb jumping in this game because I've never found a practical application of it. I mean, if you're good at wall jumping and you shine spark in the right places, bomb jumping is just completely and utterly pointless to me. It doesn't really save any time. It doesn't really do much of anything. And you have to be really, really damn good at it. And this is another one of the paths that, you know, I never visit. In fact, until I started doing 100% runs through the game again, I forgot that it even existed. But this is the actual way that the game wants you, after you first get power bombs, to get to Crocomire, because you're not supposed to have the wave beam to shoot through the gate that's right next to him. This is the way that the game intended you to get to, well, not Lower Norfair, but, you know, Lower Norfair. Not Ridley's Lair, Lower Norfair, just Crocomire, Lower Norfair. Speed booster, power bombs. The game has a really, really weird intended order. Yeah, I'm not going to get on that tangent again, because, I mean, I really need to drill it home, but I can understand why people don't like the Metroid series for backtracking, but again, you get good at it, at a game like this, you backtrack very little. I mean, you're not going from one area to the next like a freaking yo-yo to an area that you've already been to that you couldn't, you know, access before. Most of the time, the first time you get to an area, with some combination of wall jumping, shine sparking, and mockballing, you can probably get whatever you need there on your first try. So. Anyways, it's time. We finally put it off long enough. It's time for Ridley's Lair. And, you know, aside from a couple blunders here and there, I haven't wasted a whole lot of time. I love the music of this area. Of course, doesn't everybody? Anyways, I try in vain to get a running start. And it works all the way up until the space jump fails to jump again. I clicked the button. I did the correct input. You fucked up, basically. You know, Super Mario frustration style. But honestly, for time-saving advice, I would just say memorize the map. Know where to basically have power bombs out, because there's a lot of areas that need multiple bombs, and you know, you can just save yourself a lot of the frustration and time wasted of it just from having power bombs out. You have enough, you don't really need them for like a whole lot of areas. That was a poorly placed one, but power bombs really help in this level, or in this part of the map. Anyways, for some proof of concept, I'm not pressing down on the spring ball. I'm just holding the button. I'm not just pressing it for precise jumping. You just hold it, and it jumps again and again. The instant it hits the ground, if you have that button held, it will jump again. So spring ball makes that missile obscenely hard to obscenely easy, all with one upgrade. Anyways, we have the golden Torizo. I mean, this really isn't that much different from the first one. It's just harder. Don't shoot a super missile at it because it'll throw it at you. But besides that, not a whole lot to talk about. It's business as usual for the golden Torizo. Pretty easy boss. And I don't know why I was in, you know, a frenzy to get all of those collectibles, because I don't need them. I'm going to get another energy tank, and I don't need that many super missiles for Ridley. Or do I? But yeah. Back out into the area with the awesome music. Oh, beer lava. You know, I would have been happy never seeing you again, Beer Lava. And do not do this. I screw up completely. I don't, like, screw myself over that much, but I waste about 20 seconds, 30 seconds, maybe even a minute of time going through the wrong area. I think this is, for whatever reason, I think that this is the area, but no. And now I have to go through and kill enemies. I was thinking of a couple of rooms after this, where you end up on the top side of this room, where there's, what is it, the Mickey Mouse or the Mushroom House room with the missile expansion. One of those two. And I call it the Mickey Mouse and Mushroom House just because of how they're shaped. I think it's the Mickey Mouse one, to be honest. I think the Mushroom House is on the tail end of Ridley's Lair. Avoid the fireballs, avoid the beer lava. The screw attack makes ascending this a breeze. I mean, there's nothing that these space pirates can do. This is the area that you want to go up. Now there is a false floor below this, but it's the Mickey Mouse area. But you know, the spring ball again just makes it absurdly easy. I don't even think I hit the part that's actually the false floor. We're almost to Ridley. Just got a couple more pieces of business, that being the room with the rising beer lava. Avoid the beer lava at all costs. And this is the room where you start descending down to where Ridley's at. We skip it in favor of an energy tank. You know, I've never been hard up for energy to get to Ridley in a long time, simply because of the energy tank. It's right here. It's easy to get to. It refills you if the Lair has taken off a couple energy tanks worth. But I mean, if you have at least one full row of energy, you should not die to Ridley. I mean, it's possible, but you either need to be very poorly armed with super missile count, or just not taking advantage of, you know, charging your beam constantly. I think it would have been faster for me to actually run through this place via screw attacking and then going into power bomb as I hit the bottom. But, Spring ball makes this area, I guess, a little bit better. It's not hard to get past with or without, so. Really, the big challenge for a 100% run through this game is just remembering where everything is. Once you can get past that hurdle, it then becomes a matter of planning your path and trying to figure out what the most efficient way of getting through the map is. It's like the scientific method, honestly. You're just applying it in a completely different area. Assuming, of course, you have the patience and time to actually go through the game that way. And you know, some people can't, some people do. This is a game that I choose to be pretty good at. Devoted a lot of my time into it just because it's a fantastic game. I mean, like I've said so many times, it's not just the, you know, the core programming of the game. If it had Lippy Lou and Mad C from Batman Forever as its main characters, I would not enjoy this game. It's not just the awesome freaking environments and characters that this game, well, it is the awesome environments that take the game over the top, but it's not, you know, the speed running tactics and, you know, the well-designed gameplay that make it the complete package and make it what I consider to be the greatest game ever made. It's just a big melting pot of so many factors, And thankfully, the one thing that isn't in that melting pot is the beer lava below me. Or is it? Oh, beer lava. And Ridley takes for freaking ever to die. I get him into a deep red pretty quickly, but he just refuses to die. I don't know what the determinant factor is to basically make Ridley die, because I have drained missile after missile, super missile after super missile. I've tried facing him with the plasma beam, and it takes even longer that way. I don't understand. I've had... Like, this is literally 30 seconds longer than some of the Ridley fights that I've had. Now, there's no difference in the way I'm playing. It's just when he chooses to die. And I've seen so many people, like, get caught in his talons while doing a powerbomb, and that'll kill him. I don't know. If you guys want to let me know how to kill him as quickly as possible, and of course, don't just say, well, rip into him faster, because he has 0 health right now. He's just choosing when to die. There, see? I don't get it. I don't get how Ridley works. He has, like, 5 life bars, and he chooses when one of those life bars is his actual kill. I don't get it. Anyways, we got our second to last energy tank. Ridley's dead, and it's off to Turian after we, clean up Norfair. And what a cleanup it is. But yeah, I don't get why sometimes Ridley will choose to die very cooperatively, quickly. I'll drain his life bar, the same as I did here, and he'll choose to die. Other times he's like the freaking Terminator. He never dies. And then eventually, at some point, I have to be Sarah Connor with the switch and say, "You're terminated, fucker!" Bam! And then he dies. But no, I mean, sometimes I don't get it. Spring Ball can make this slightly precision platforming a little bit easier. I don't know. I never had any problems with it with or without the Spring Ball, but I don't know. I like to use the Spring Ball for it. The jump distance of it seems like just right. It makes you wonder as you're seeing all these Chozo statues. Like, all of the Chozo that you've seen in Samus's memories and the murals and stuff, where a lot of the Chozo lore was established, you know, they're very thin creatures, very bird-like and all that stuff, but every once in a while you see fat guys like these statues. I don't get it. But the architecture of the game basically tells you that, yes, Zeba, Zeebs, however you pronounce it, was originally inhabited and controlled by the Chozo. So that plot point was basically established even as early as the first Metroid game. Well, maybe not the first Metroid game, but definitely Super Metroid. Missiles. I thought I was going to have to commentate throughout this long play in multiple takes, but, you know, I'm still going. I'll probably just end up commentating through the whole thing and then splitting it into several parts. It's just such an engaging game, whether I'm playing it or watching it. I hope it's as enjoying for you guys as it is for me watching it. I mean, obviously it's not the same LP format. In Super Metroid, you think Sonic Generations takes a lot of my concentration. Super Metroid is like the ultimate concentration hog. I would have nothing to say during my time playing this because A, it's engrossing as hell, and B, I do anything wrong and I'll suck in the room with Norfair even worse. Like, literally, that's it. I almost screwed myself there. Oh, beer lava. But, yeah, we're almost done in Norfair. certainly basically done in Ridley's Lair. And here we have the Mushroom House. I don't know what else to call it. I always just equated it as a mushroom house. But yeah, I mean, Super Metroid is, you know, without a doubt, my favorite game ever. And though many Metroid games have come close, like Metroid Zero Mission, Metroid Prime, those two games come to mind, come very close to capturing, you know, the same feel of Super Metroid, I still have not played through those games anywhere near the degree that I have Super Metroid. On the Prime's case, it's length. I mean, it's a much longer game. But it just has not been the same. And, you know, I may chalk it up to the fact that, you know, Gunpei Yokoi isn't, you know, the man at the helm of the game. He was, like, the lead producer for it. Or the project manager for it. And he always had, you know, a very good seal of quality, excellence, and standard. And I don't count the Virtual Boy that was rushed, that was crap. And, you know, if I remember correctly, he didn't even intend for the Virtual Boy to be released in that incarnation. I think he wanted color with it and all that stuff. I don't know. But Gunpei Yokoi was definitely one of the reasons why Metroid is what it is today. And, you know, the gaming world lost a great man in 97. Was it 97, 98, something like that. And I mean, they've done a pretty good job of keeping the series going in his memory, but I mean, there was never another Kid Icarus really quite like the first one. I think Kid Icarus had a sequel, but the one coming out for the 3DS doesn't operate anywhere near the same as the original does. Yeah, he was responsible for those two games. He was Mr. Game Boy. He was, you know, one of the many reasons why Nintendo did so well, and you know, it's kind of sad to think, you know, what might have been if the Virtual Boy hadn't failed and, you know, he hadn't passed away in that accident. But I think the gaming world would have been, you know, even brighter today than it is, you know, currently, if none of that stuff had happened and, you know, he'd remained with Nintendo. He always had an eye for evolution in gaming. So, we're done in Norfair. Can you believe it? We're done in basically everything except Brinstar and Criteria, and it's off to Turian.